Here we go. Welcome, everyone, to the Irrelevant Podcast. I'm Nathan Jones, joined by my co host, Alex Lewis. And this is the Everything Irrelevant in the World Around Us. Thank you for joining us. Alex, say hello to the people.
Well, hello, everyone. Or the one person that listens to this, maybe.
One person for now. Don't worry. We're going to find ourselves under the spectrum of the podcast world.
I hope that's not like the other spectrum everyone refers to.
Oh, no. Is that where this podcast is taking us? That would be bad.
Let's hope not.
Well, how are you today, my man?
I'm doing pretty good.
Okay.
I got to do a lot of programming this afternoon. That should be fun.
Yeah, I got that out of the way early this morning. I had like 12 that I needed to write, or at least get ahead of. So I got that out of the way.
Nice.
Anybody in particular that you're programming for?
Everyone?
Everyone and anyone. Nobody specific.
Yes, I don't understand the question. I have to do all of the athletes programming today.
I mean,
so whoever.
For those who don't know, how many people do you work with currently?
About 20 at the moment.
20 people. All right.
Pretty fun.
It's pretty fun. Who did you work with today? Who did you have? You said you had a client today. Who were you working with?
I had 2 sessions. I worked with my strongman athlete today and some FRC stuff. That was pretty good. And I have another guy that I do FRC stuff with who does like jujitsu and lots of backpacking and stuff. So,
how did was this the strongman that competed with Mr. Shaw?
Yeah, he's getting ready to qualify for the Shaw Classic, hopefully.
Hopefully? You say hopefully?
Well, I mean, it's never guaranteed. I mean, he should be able to do it. The strength is there. Just have to do it and record it.
Gotcha.
Well, who knows? Maybe something stupid like forgetting to hit record could happen. Let's hope that doesn't happen.
Well, I luckily hit start recording on this one, so we're good there. That's a plus.
Like, I did these pails and rails for scapular elevation where you basically hold onto the rings on your tippy toes for 5 minutes, right? And I actually made it all the way through. I'm like, man, that's going to be a good video for the library. And didn't hit record.
I can't imagine folding my scaps up like that on those rings for 5 minutes. Yeah, I'm sure that was a winner.
It's very mentally taxing.
All right, well, for the people who don't know and they absolutely know nothing about us or who we are and what we do, we're just two.
Matter, but we don't because we're irrelevant.
Yes, we're just 2 random idiots that have decided to start a podcast here together. First of all, we'll talk about a little bit about how we met a little bit later on, I'd say. But for the lovely people listening or the lovely people sitting at home listening, can you, Mr. Lewis, who I just found out today's last name is not Luis, it's actually Lewis. So I've just been lied to.
What you're saying it in?
Huh?
It's context here. It depends on the language you're saying it in.
I've just been lied to for the last year that I've known you. It's fine.
It's tattooed on my arm, and they're like, "Oh, it's my first name," and I'm like, "It's my last name." They're like, "Huh?" I'm like, "It's Portuguese." They're like, "Oh."
Oh, so it's Portuguese. Okay. Well, since I've been lied to for the last year, let's just go ahead and set the record straight and just tell the people who you are, what you do, what space you're in, how you came to the position that you're in today, and what is Alghul Performance?
How far back are we going to go with this?
How did you? Let's I don't know, anything you think anything relevant to get you to this point, or anything you think that's irrelevant or doesn't matter whatsoever. What got you to the point to where you are today?
There's a podcast that got me to this point, ironically enough. If we go back far enough, that's what I want. It's like how far you want to go.
Just tell us like how you started. How did you get into the space? What did you do at the beginning? What led you?
I started working out like every kid. It'd be like, what is it? Probably like this time of year. I'd be like, all right, I'm gonna get jacked for summertime. And I started at like 12, right? Like, and that didn't happen clearly, but I'd go for like a few months, and then I don't know what the fuck would happen. And then like all through high school, you take the classes where you get credit for it. So once I found out I get credit for working out, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and take this all the time. That was like,
we didn't have those classes.
Semblance of some consistency, right? Like I could actually see some progress, and I was like kind of strong. So I was like, oh, this is cool. And then after high school, I think everyone just thinks that they don't have to work out or do anything and you're just gonna magically get in better shape. That did not happen. Actually, no, I lifted for like that's not true. I made it until like my sophomore year of college. I was lifting. And then I stopped for a year and got like borderline fat and I was like, well, this is not cool. Couldn't do things that I could do before. I'm like, this sucks balls. So I remember going back to the gym. Oh, this is great. I loaded 225 on the bench because like before I could do 315 for a few reps. So like it was like 225 shouldn't be bad, right? Well, if you don't do anything for a year, shit doesn't
Just
just
get
magically stick
squished.
around. Oh, dude, I got pancaked. It was so bad. It was so bad. I'm like, oh fuck. And that was the last time I ever stopped working out. And I think I was 19. So
What'd you do?
yeah,
What was your career path at 19?
I was still in school. I
Okay.
didn't have a career. I was working at let's see. During the recession, I lost this sweet landscaping job. So that's like what caused me to stop working out is I had this scarcity mindset and I couldn't pay for my gym membership
Right.
because it wasn't that important, clearly. And
As
so I
is most
stopped working
as is
this
for most
landscaping
people.
job. And I had to work at Walmart for like what was it, like 15 months of my life. I decided to just be a lazy cunt, I think. It's pretty much what it was. I don't know. It's the whole mindset thing, man. It's fucked up. If you think you can't do something, then clearly you can't. So I spent this time working at Walmart, and then I realized how depressed the people there were. I'm like, this is not for me. So I got a job working for Apple, ironically, and then I got a job working for IBM, and I had this money for a gym membership. So that's when I went back and embarrassed myself. So then, I guess my career path at that point, I worked in a IBM for 5 years doing like business to business communications after I did troubleshooting on the Apple stuff. So I worked in corporate America in the office gig. And those people are less depressed than the people at Walmart, actually. They just make more money.
Yeah. So then
Same
they
problem.
justify it as being a little bit better if they make a little bit more money.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know, but it was at that job I got to start listening to the Joe Rogan podcast. And that was enlightening because then you could like see, oh, like people can like do things they like and make money at it. And so like that just kind of opened up an idea of like, oh. And I remember I started actually following better nutrition at the time and like feeling better, thinking better, like all these cool things that happen when you actually take care of yourself. And I remember when I was at CSU, they had a course on like personal training that you could take for credits. I was like, oh, so I could, because the only thing I liked about the job I had was helping people.
Yeah.
Like the rest of it was absolutely misery. And I was like, I like helping people and I like working out. So why don't I try to help people work out? So I did like the ISSA cert and I went to this like local gym that we had that was like a franchise. I don't even know. It was Fitness 19. It was terrible. Like it
I
was like
remember those.
it was so bad. And asked the dude for a job, and he's like, "Well, can't actually hire you, but you can train out of here." I was like, "All right, whatever." So like, oh, what was I like 23? Let's try to stab at making a business at 23, and I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. So with the amount of motivation, well, actually, what happened is I got in trouble because the managers got switched, so I couldn't train there anymore. I, once again, this defeatist mentality and scarcity mindset couldn't go work anywhere else. So I waited for them to build a Gold's Gym, and then I got a job there. That's what got me out of working in the corporate world.
Mm-hmm.
And I started working at Gold's Gym full time, which had its value. It's a terrible gig for any length of time. Working all the time for like
Pennies.
hardly anything, basically. But learn how to do sales. I feel like.
Had to pitch yourself pretty well.
Well, it's not pitching yourself. That's the part of sales that people I don't think get is that's where you go wrong. It's about them. It's not about you.
Yeah.
You make it about them, then you don't have to pitch anything.
So you're working away at this Gold's Gym.
Oh yeah, and then COVID happened.
COVID, of course.
Right? I was told I couldn't go help make people healthy anymore. Like what? So I did nothing for like maybe a week. And then someone asked me if I could do classes outside with kettlebells. I'm like, sure as hell can. So we started doing kettlebells outside. And after about a month of that, I was like, oh, this could actually like be a business. So I started my first business, or the second business, I should say. And then I went back to the gym and tried doing that for like, I don't know, maybe 6 weeks. And none of my clients wanted to come back. And so I was like, well,
I'm out.
I was like, well, I can rebuild this and know how much money I can make and just take that ceiling, or I can bet on myself and see what happens. So in the process of trying to do like a smooth transition of that, they found out and fired me. So that was funny. Like I put in my 2 weeks and they're like, well, actually, we'll just let you go. I'm like, okay, cool. And they're like, you can't come back out. Come back in here and work out. I'm like, I don't want any of these people as clients. Like,
Right.
this is like, okay. So then started the independent business thing. And that's been, a fun journey. I guess it's been almost 3 years in June. So yeah. And do I need to keep going here?
Well, what kind of clients do you work with? Any and all?
Um, kind of. It's more of like a certain personality or mindset.
Right.
I mean, athletes are generally people I gravitate towards because they understand the amount of work that it takes to accomplish things, or like ex-military people, or even anyone in the tactical realm most of the time. So firefighters, cops, things like that. They
Yeah.
have to have that mindset of like, I have to get this done. Just makes it easier because molding that into somebody is not the easiest thing to do.
Right.
So I gravitate towards people like that. But I mean, I have clients. I train my niece and nephew who are 8 and 10, and then I have these elderly couple that I help with training that are 65, I think, 60 and 65.
Gotcha.
So
Pretty
I
broad
mean,
spectrum.
I won't say no if you're willing to work hard.
I think that's the key. Yeah. People are willing to work hard, you'll work with them. If not, they won't. You won't tolerate their crap. Seems like.
Well, yeah, because the whole idea is to give people a better quality of life. Like the athletes are fun, but I'm not trying to win them anything. If I make their life better, they'll end up winning anyways.
Right. I
I
think
don't know, different effect.
that's been the biggest shift in my model when I was all gung ho, ready to train as many athletes as I could possibly train and things like that. But it's like, well, I settled in a small town, so now I can't train athletes all the time. I have to train just people to help better their quality of life and things like that. So my business model has
Well,
definitely changed.
ironically, when you train the athletes that way, they get better at winning. Like it's the whole thing is about getting better as a person, and that's what makes you a better athlete too.
Right.
Like just training the qualities you think you need for the sport are not going to be enough for you to actually get that much better.
Mentality plays a large role in sports, obviously, or probably the
Oh
biggest
yeah.
role.
Well, I mean,
But
it's
you have to
so
be
is
physically gifted as well.
it's not only sport though; it's life.
Yeah.
Like if you don't take control of your life, what's going to happen to it? Probably the same shit over and over again.
Yeah, that's for sure.
It's the same thing with training. If you don't actually like do it and put some thought into it, you'll make some progress, you'll plateau, and then you'll either get injured or quit, and then you'll do it again. And then bitch about why you don't ever get anywhere. Like, well, there's no thought behind it. There's no intent.
Nope. You're just showing up.
Yeah.
Consistency, though. I mean, well, when I train people, it's like, well, if I can get the people to first be consistent with what they're doing, that usually pays off in the long run, bigger than anything. Creating habits.
Well, they have to understand they need to show up for themselves. Like
Yep.
if you don't do it, nobody else is going to.
I had a lady talk about that this morning. She was like, I really didn't want to get out of bed today, but it's like I've shifted my mindset in the last year to like just go and just go do it. And you know that everything is going to feel better during and then after. You're like, okay, I set myself up better for the rest of the day just because I showed up. So,
Right.
yep.
How about you? How'd you get here, Nathan?
Oh, you just said let's do a pod. Like you said, let's just do a podcast, and just here we are. We just popped up in these windows, and people sitting here going, "Who the hell are these guys?" Oh God. Well, my journey starts way back. I've always been around baseball. I kind of think I saw my life revolving around baseball in some capacity from a very young age, 14, 15, 16, played all over the place. I would say I had some pretty poor counselors in my day guiding me on like what the next steps in my life are going to be. So it was, oh, you want to be around baseball, you want to coach baseball, go be a teacher. And I was like, that's it. That's like my only option. Like I have nothing better than to just go coach and teach. And because I didn't like school and I didn't see myself being a teacher, but I was like, okay, whatever. If it keeps my foot in the door to be around baseball, then I'll go do it. So luckily was fortunate enough to go play in college. Did my 4 years there, got my teaching degree, um, became a high school baseball coach, gung ho, ready to go, change culture, blah blah blah, change kids, blah blah blah. Which I liked. I liked teaching, I liked coaching, but the stuff that goes on behind the doors in teaching and coaching is just not worth the time and the pay that you put into it to hate or just be mad all the time. You know what I mean? Like you're just mad all the time, whether it's parents or administration or kids or whatever. You're just upset all the time. Well, what I did like to do was like the developmental side of things. So like I liked helping kids in the batting cage or getting stronger or getting faster. We would do morning weights at the schools that I went to. I'd always trained and done things like that all the way through college. And I thought, okay, well, what's a business model that could continue to help kids get their sport, but also have the strength and conditioning aspect of this as well? So there were a few business models that I had looked into, and one of them was OPP in Arizona. And he kind of was running that model successfully. And that's right about the time COVID hit. So COVID came around in 2020. I had left a job, left being a head baseball coach. I was like, I'm kind of done with this. I don't really want to be a head coach anymore. Don't want the headaches. And he put that internship opportunity out there, applied for that. Luckily, somehow magically got that. Not really sure how, all the way from Missouri to Arizona. So I quit my job with a month to go, which was a big step, to go to a no paid internship for 3 months. Learned the business model, learned kind of how to run a situation where you could run a gym, train baseball players, things like that. And that was 2021. So that was, I guess, 2 years ago. And then came home, started teaching for one more year to just kind of build some income to hopefully open my own gym. So I started out in my garage, just training whoever and whatever would come to some random person's house, training in a garage. It's always a hard sell, like, hey, come to my garage and come train. But luckily I had some really good kids the previous year that were kind of looking for something different than high school weights, and they bought into something new and something different, and me learning and me just, hey, I got all this Louis Simmons knowledge and I got all this science and practice knowledge, and we're just going to throw it together in a garage and see what happens. And for the most part, it worked pretty well. And there were some growing pains, but had some pretty good results with kids. Luckily found a building, got moved into the building that we're at now. Been there for a year. So it's just a full like 2,400 square foot facility with a batting cage and a full floor space gym. Dear God, that's a hard one. Full floor space gym. Say that 10 times fast. But yeah, we've been training people there for about a year, and it's we're just in a really small town of like 3,000 people here in Cassville, Missouri. But my model had to shift, like I told you, because I was like so gung-ho to just train athletes. And then I had general population people reaching out to me like, hey, heard you're in town. Like, I'm looking to get in shape. I'm looking to do this. Do you do this kind of services? And I had to think to myself, like, I don't know. Do I do those kind of services, And fortunately, I had met you at the time, like right around the time people started asking. And I was like, oh boy, okay. So here we go. And luckily I'd learned a lot, obviously, from you, and kind of took things from you and listened to you and probably asked you about 1,000 different questions about how to train these type of people. And luckily one led to many, and here we are, stable with full business model and a pretty good sized average amount of clientele, and Elevation Athletic Performance is moving forward. So
Nice.
kind of why we're here. So I don't even remember how I met you. How did we meet?
Good old Instagram, bro. It's always the gram.
Yeah, but I just like reached out and was like, hey, dude. So I don't even remember.
Possibly. I don't know. Good question.
I'm sure we could go back and find the messages and how stupid they probably were.
I don't know. I don't remember.
It's been what, a year? It's been about a year?
Yeah.
Maybe a little more.
Mm-hmm. It's only been that long, huh?
Has it really? Or has it been a little longer? I can't.
I don't know.
I traded with you a little bit. Hated you for the first 3 months of training, though, with all that 4-second eccentric tempo worked for GPP building. That was always a blast. That was a bullet.
It was 2 down and 2 up.
No shot. The first program you give me, and I specifically remember because I hated you for it, were 4-second eccentrics. And they were, some of them were split squat variations. So I was like, love this guy. Love it. Absolutely love this guy. Dude, they were brutal.
Gotta see what kind of shape you're in.
I was in shitty shape. It's not good.
I mean, everyone's in shape for the things they do.
But I didn't know what things I needed to be in shape for. That was the problem. I didn't do anything. I was just like, oh, wow. I was pulling the sled and doing things like that, but yeah. I wasn't doing effectively, I guess. I had no direction. It was just like, I have all this stuff. I'm just going to throw it to the wall.
I had a very shotgun approach for a long time. It's called trial and error or something like that.
Yep.
Then I learned it's easier to just pay people that are smarter than you to teach you.
That's what I did.
So really accelerates the process.
Yeah, and I've stumbled on some good resources since then, so it's been good.
Like people always are shocked at like how much education is or whatever, and it's like, I don't know how much you realize you can get out of it. It's the gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah, but it's got to be properly applied too.
Sure, application is key.
Like applying the proper knowledge on how to box squat. Is that
what you want to segue?
There's my segue.
I mean, first of all, you have to define what you mean by a box squat. I am always referencing a West Side box squat when I talk about a box squat because, and people think Louis created it. He didn't even come up with it. It's from West Side in Culver City. But they're 2 different movements. One's like a sumo deadlift, and the other one is like squatting down and just touching something to make sure you're hitting depth, right? Like that's how I see them. But
I use both. I use the one where I just try to touch something with like my younger kids.
Sure.
Because they have no clue where the bottom is. They have no clue where they're supposed to stop.
What I hear, I don't know. When I train my niece and nephew, it literally
they do okay.
It's only been like 3 sessions so far, and their form is better than like 90% of the people I've worked with.
I would say the first okay, the kids I've seen, they're either like really good and they can move, or they're just horrible. You know who are the worst squatters? Wrestlers. They're awful. I've had like
you do just fine for some reason. They must haven't. They must be young enough.
Yeah, how old are they again? 8 and 10, you said? Yeah, like I have like the 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, like the high school spectrum. Their hips are so messed up. They can't squat. So I like using it with the young kids though. Like, hey, squat down, push your hips back, touch the box. Now you know you're at the right depth. Come back up. And we do it with a goblet. We do it with kettlebell. We do it with a dumbbell. We do it with all those different variations before we're like, okay, now we can put a bar on your back and move on from there.
I like the what does one more say? You got to do like 55-pound goblet squats for 100 reps unbroken before you get to squat a barbell.
We did the I tried the West Side for skinny bastards, I think it was. Or no, it wasn't. It was that. I don't even remember what it was. It's the 1x20. That's what it is. It's I think it's Vershansky that came up with that. You just do like one set of 20, and then like next week we would do 2 sets of 20, and then that's like we'd do like 3 sets of 30. And so it was like kind of like what Wendler's talking about. Just kill them with repetition until it's like you can do 30 perfect goblet squat reps with that 55-pound kettlebell. Because kids ask you all the time, when am I going to get to squat with a bar? When am I going to get to squat with a bar? When am I going to get to squat with a bar? Well, when your squat doesn't look like crap, and you have some coordination.
If it's not 55 for 100 unbroken, it should be 55 for 100. Like that's if you can do 100 squats with 55 pounds, yeah.
That's tough. That's tough for me.
I know. That's why I think it should be
You want
very
to?
interesting.
We should do it on podcast. I'll grab a 55, bring it up here, and let's see if we can do 100 unbroken. I don't think I can do it.
I mean, if I get to pause and catch my breath.
Yeah. So yeah, what's the unbroken? Is it just consistently 100, or can I just stand up?
Down. That's what I would consider. Don't set the weight down.
Okay. I think I could do it then.
Not like holding that 55 pounds is not anything. Like,
no. If the stipulation is like I can sit there every now and then and just stand here, I'm good. I can do that. That's kind of like what they were doing.
Yeah, like 5 sets of 20.
Oh yeah, I could do that. I'm gonna challenge one of my kids today to do it. He's got goblet squats. I'm just be like, hey, change of plans, buddy. Here's 5 by 20, and if that kettlebell stops and hits the ground, you gotta start over. We gotta start over. And then you call me tomorrow and be like, yeah, by the way, I'm quitting. Which is fine. Totally fine. So squatting, so squatting is different.
Because like when I put it on my story, right, I went and just was kind of vague in the description apparently, and everyone said they box squatted. And I don't need to call anybody out, but I looked at who answered these questions, and I'm like, I've never seen any of these people box. Well, not any of them, but the vast majority of them. I was like, I don't know. I'm like, maybe I didn't say it correctly. And then when I restated it, we got some people that actually were on both sides. So, do you have the example of what the west side version looks like?
Yeah, I can pull that up. Give me 1 second. Here. Let's pull up the west side. Okay, so for those
2 strongest people in the world.
What's up? 2 strongest people in the world?
Yeah, in powerlifting anyways, right?
Yeah, so this first video is Laura Phelps, who trained at Westside Barbell for I don't know how many years, but strongest woman pound for pound. Oh my lord, stupidly strong. So when Alex talks about like what a Westside box squat looks like, this video is going to show you exactly what that looks like. So you just tell me to pause at any point, by the way.
Squatting and why they're so important. A lot of people have no idea what box squats are. They think they're dangerous. They're absolutely not dangerous.
Where'd you find this video? Good old YouTube?
It's all YouTube, man. It's all YouTube. So I'll say this. He said right there, some people consider box squats to be dangerous. What do you believe? Why do some people have that preconceived notion? Because they slam on the box and
I don't know where anybody gets these ideas.
Well, if you watch some of these, so I was gonna say this, like I have kids that come from their high school lifting program, and I put a box squat on their program, and they're like, oh yeah, I know how to do a box squat, whatever, we do box squats. I did them at school. I'm like, okay, cool, let's see it. So I just humor me, and so weights on the back, they put the box like squared, and they get real close to it, and they just go, and they just crash on the box, and I'm like, your spine is screaming at you right now, first of all. So let's fix that. So is that you think that's some of the like preconceived fear that people have?
Being an issue, yeah. I mean, if you're not controlling the eccentric portion of the lift, that's always kind of an issue.
You're just jolting your spine every time you hit that box.
Even when you're trying to move weight quickly, you're still doing it with as much as control as pot. Like,
yeah,
you're moving as fast as you can, not as fast as the weight can.
Right.
Like, so not at any given time would I suggest just plopping and fucking. Well, here we go.
It happens though, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I can box squat. I can box squat." Okay, well, that is squatting to a box in some capacity, but it's not a West Side box squat.
Maybe this will be insightful for some.
Yeah, because the control that she does this with is just unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable. So here we go.
Squat. Box squatting breaks up the eccentric concentric chain. That's exactly what you do when you run, for instance. Box squatting is a leg curl.
And like
her shins are
the thing I look for is notice the knees are never driving forward when you do a West Side style box squat. So this immediately turns it into a hinge, not a knee dominant thing, right? Like it's now hip dominant. And you're using all of
come off the box
muscles that I personally did not use for a long time. So when I started doing it, like I could free squat over 400 and I couldn't box squat 200 very well.
Yep. I think it's always a nice reality check. It is for kids too, because kids will do the same thing. They'll come in, squats this, my squats this, my squats that. It's like, okay, let's get you in this form and let's see how much you can squat. And they're just humbled so quickly because they're just like, holy crap, I've never used these muscles before. And I'm like, no, you haven't in this capacity. You're correct. You have not.
Yeah. And from a strength perspective, I think there's a lot to be given or taken from that. Like, you shouldn't be skipping out on something just because you don't want to do it, right?
Yeah, what's his name? Talked about that
There's a video
yesterday.
of Donnie doing it. Let's see Donnie do it.
Old Donnie boy.
Because I do it more like he does than the way she does
So
it.
not quite as wide as Laura. That's incredible how wide she is.
Yeah, all of that's crazy.
So old Donnie, this is Donnie Thompson, Mister. What he has a total over 3,000, correct?
He's one of 2 people ever.
Yeah, pretty incredible. So I think he knows what he's doing a little bit.
I mean,
Totally
you can
tight.
say that.
Everything's firing, just like there was no box here, and I have to rely on the tension of my muscles to come back up. So I'm gonna take everything, but fire it right back into it, just like we.
That's something I see with kids a lot when he talked about at the bottom how they used to keep everything tight with tension if the box wasn't there.
They relax.
Yeah, they'll just go and like lose everything, and it's like, no, that's not it. You gotta stay tight.
Well, that's where like one of the big differences, right? Is like on this, you're pushing your hips back, getting everything tight, and storing that tension, and then you're trying to use that to explode off the box.
When I do it correctly, there's not a lift I can do where I feel I have that much tension. Like if you do them really well, it's like, holy crap, my pants are gonna split.
And when you do it the other way, then none of that's happening.
Right. Correct.
Like you're not storing the tension in your quads and like springing off of the box. It's simply just letting you collect a moment of time and like, okay, now I can push hard.
Right.
So I don't know. They're
driving
like
my
2 different
head,
animals.
That triangle into the bar to come up. So I got my air.
Also, look, the knees are always out, right? They don't drive forward, they stay out. Yeah, so I have a stance that's more like that. I found that to be more favorable for me.
Yeah.
I did as well. I think on my deadlift, I like a wider stance. It seems like it's a little more beneficial for me. But when I squat, I like to be a little bit more like this. Not
I
quite.
honestly look at them as the exact same thing. I set my lower half the same way both ways.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know. When I get on my deadlift, I just feel when I'm wider, it feels like I'm in a better position to pull from. I don't know why, but it just feels better.
I'm also sadistic, and I pretty much only use the box squat below parallel too.
Yeah, I was not doing below parallel box squats either before I met you, and then when I went to the 12-inch box, I was like, oh my god, where is this box? I'm never gonna hit it. And so,
Well, but it just works a completely different set of musculature.
Yeah.
That way. Like I like got that from Ed Cohen. Like I asked him, I'm like, do you box squat? He's like, only below parallel. I'm like, sounds like there's something to this. I tried it and I went, holy shit.
yeah, it's unbelievably humbling.
Yeah. I mean, you can learn it quickly though. Like I added 100 pounds to mine in 6 months, and it wasn't just because I magically grew some new tissue. I just learned how to use the tissue that was there.
That was me as well. It was like, okay, like once I figure out how to be as comfortable as possible in this position, and learn how to drive from here, it got a lot better.
And if you learn how to use your hips, that 12-inch box doesn't feel that far anymore. We're doing that shit.
It's still a long way down there. Still a long way down there. It's so far down there. And then like you read the stuff about Louis and those guys that were going to like 10-inch boxes, and you're like, oh my god, you guys are unreal. So
I'm saying, I think there's something to it to going below parallel. Like everyone goes above and like to the box, and they're like, well, this is where you're at in sports, and I'm like, well, I thought we were just trying to get strong here. What are we doing?
That's what I was gonna say. Is like I see a lot of coaches, and I'm not gonna name names obviously, but you do see a lot of coaches advocate for not going below parallel on the box, and they stay nothing below parallel, nothing below parallel, nothing below parallel, and they'll stay at that like 14 to 16-inch range. Because they mention and reference what you said. It's like, well, in sports you don't really get below that, so you don't have to develop strength there at those ranges. But I'm like, well, I kind of want to be strong everywhere. So
let's see the video with the other example.
Okay. Oh, this is your favorite? Is your favorite video?
I mean, no. This is the common box squat. I refuse to call it a box squat. This is squatting to a box.
This is what we see a lot of.
Yeah, which is fine, and you can use it, but I want to start a petition to not call it a box squat anymore.
So what are we gonna call it? Let's name it right here.
To a box. That's what you're doing.
Yeah, but it's gotta be better than that. Come on.
No, why?
Squatting to a
Box
box.
squat's not even a good name, anyways.
I'm gonna
Like,
program that from now on. You're gonna do squatting to a box today.
I literally write squat to a box if I have somebody do that.
I think I specify. I think I put box squat, but then I like in the notes I put these are just tap and goes. These are not, like they just tap and go. So anyway, here we go.
Just at or
Oh,
right
I don't
below
like. To me, you
parallel?
should be able to feel where you're at in space.
Just at or right below parallel. No 10-inch box for these guys.
Yeah, but that's a great looking squat. Like
Crease of the hip. Look, crease of the hip. 90 degrees here.
I mean, that's a red light, but
What's a red light? What are you talking about?
the crease of the hip has to be below the knee.
Oh, I just mean for like if someone came in here squatting like this, I'd be like, okay, we're good. Like this is a good squat, like what you just said.
I'd go a little bit lower.
Okay, buddy.
I mean, look, you could at least get the calf and the hamstring touching.
People are so afraid to go to this depth. Also, like your Gen Pop clients that come in for the first time.
I guess I'm spoiled. I'd put him on the hack squat in that case.
Yeah, well, when you got 20,000.
Let's get them with a kettlebell a little more upright and see if they can't sink that a little bit deeper. With because this bar is not loaded.
That's where we start. The kettlebell for sure gets them there. So like everyone starts there, and then
this is where it's like, are we just doing barbell squats because we want to say we do barbell squats? Because there's many effective knee flexion exercises you can do.
Yep. I think for a lot of people that have not been in the gym regularly either, it's just a little bit of an intimidation factor of having the bar on their back for the first time. For some reason.
Well, nobody wants to go where the muscles are weak, which is either end range, right? Like you get to the middle where they're strong, you're like, ooh, this feels all right. And it's like, well, no, we got to go to the other side of that hill. Like we got to get to the bottom of the hill.
We gotta go. I was impressed with. I will say this: we did a lot of box squatting with the programming that you gave me below, and then recently it's been a lot more free squatting, and I noticed like I can get to depth just fine with my free squat now, and probably even below some. So I'm just saying, like I hadn't free squatted in a while, and then when I did, I felt comfortable in that very like even below this because my squat goes much lower than this. It's like okay, I feel pretty good down here. So
that's the beauty of the box, right?
Right.
Like you can train with something below you and break up the movement and really understand what it is you're trying to do on both ends. And even if you don't squat with a hip hinge, you're going to have better proprioception of where you're at in space. The thing that'll fuck you up is if you're doing like FRC stuff, right? Then you'll have no idea where you're at in space.
That's true.
I've gone and done a heavy squat and gone lower than I thought because I thought it was high. Or then like I tried a belt just the other day and like that fucked me up the other way.
Felt like you were way too high.
Well, I squatted high because once it touched my legs, I went up.
Yeah.
Right? Because I'm used to just once my stomach hits, I can go up. So you have that belt that's, especially with that fucking clasp, that thing's like 3 inches.
Were you a fan of the lever? Did you like the lever? Would you rather have the?
I don't know any different. I guess it's nice.
Yeah, Mister, I don't squat with a belt.
Convenient in the prongs, I guess.
Joe Lesko was talking about how he would never, ever use a lever belt. One time he was talking about it on a podcast, or I think he said it on a story one time or something. He was like, "That's a machine. That machine's gonna fail. So if you're applying intra-abdominal pressure correctly, at some point it's gonna go." And he actually had a video of one of his clients that was doing that at one point. Had a significant amount of weight on the bar, and the lever just went boop. I was like, "Oh boy!"
I mean,
it's a little terrifying.
That seems to be a possibility. It seems that the way this one works, though, is that it doesn't actually get tight until you put that pressure on it.
That's how mine works. So as soon as it's chilling, just kind of loose, and then as soon as you clasp that thing, it's tighter than hell.
No, like mine's not even that tight when you like even then it can still come undone if you're not pressing against the belt.
Oh, yours is okay. Mine's I don't know.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like it's so loose when it's not, when there's no pressure, that it'll just fall out of place.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm just squeezing the crap out of myself.
Kind of snug when you tighten it, but I have to push into it and then it like locks in almost.
Gotcha. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Those prongs will catch once you actually, yeah.
They're caught, but like it just gets tighter and tighter.
More tension.
So
yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yep.
Because it's curved, right?
Right.
So if you're not pushing out and forcing it to go into that, it doesn't work as well.
Makes
You know what I
sense.
mean?
Yep.
Squat down.
You want to watch some more of
Give
these
yourself
wonderful
a
squats?
moment
Give
I
yourself
mean,
a
they're
moment.
good squats.
to release tension and then
I
stand
just-
right back up.
I personally have not found a use for
Perfect.
these
So
in
these
my
are called
training.
So you just take the box away, just have them free squat.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't even have her have a bar. Like, if she's got to find the, if she has to find a box or depth with a box, I don't think she needs a bar. Like, how about that?
Right. Well, exactly, because like that's what I. With kids, like I said, you give them the kettlebell, give them the goblet, or the dumbbell, whatever you do, and as they have to be able to do the same thing that they can do with the kettlebell, with the dumbbell, or the bar is coming back off their back, and we're going right back to it.
Well,
So
it's like if I give you 20 pounds and I tell you to squat, and it's so bad that you're not even getting to depth. Like, okay, well, we're probably going to take the weight away,
Yep.
and then I'm probably going to give you something to catch you. I might even use something like a TRX to help you get back up. Because I would rather work the majority of the range of motion you have than be like, oh, we'll just add weight. What? What are we
Yeah.
adding weight to?
Full range is more important before actually loading that thing. Being
Yeah,
able to actually move.
Yeah, I think so.
Most people don't.
Also, I also is I don't know. I think I have a more holistic approach to it. So,
But that's not
That's
why a
all.
lot of people think you do a back squat. They're just like, we're going to put the bar on here, we're going to load this thing up, and we're going to go. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's a lot of people's mindset when they actually like, okay, I got a barbell on my back. It's time to load this thing up.
I think they just do it because everybody else has done it.
Right, which is a lot of people. That's what I'm saying. Like, a lot of people are doing the same stupid stuff because a lot of people continue to do the same stupid stuff. They don't know a better way to doing things.
Well, we do. It's not fun or sexy, so it doesn't sell. You gotta do the basic.
Show them the good stuff, and then when they get there, they're like, one by 100 goblet squats. Here we go.
I mean,
That's what you have to do. You have to do that. As we as entrepreneurs have to show them something that looks decent, and then be like, hey, this is what it really is. Huh?
Definitely gotta sell the vacation.
Yeah, 1,000%. I have had the phrase so many times. Wow, this doesn't look like the ad. Well, no, frick. This is the results of doing all this
You
crap.
actually have people say that? That's
Yeah.
hilarious.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. They're like, when do I get to do this stuff? And I'm like, when you can do this stuff, like really good. These people have been with me. I don't advertise the people that have been with me for like 2 weeks. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna show you that.
Yeah, this is a year.
This is a culmination. I'm trying to show you that it's gonna take some hard work and some dedication over some time to get to this stuff that is fun, that is sexy, that looks cool. It's like you can be proud of and show it off. Like, yeah. But no, I'm not. Sorry. I had someone tell me one time, they're like, how many times am I going to goblet squat before I can actually like do something other than a goblet squat? And I'm like, well, you still haven't hit depth yet. It's been 6 weeks and you haven't got to where I want you to be yet. Cool.
I mean,
They're like,
long
oh,
is it gonna take you to get your shit together? That's
Yeah.
the real question.
They're like, well, is that all you needed? I'm like, well, I've literally said every time you came in here, like, your butt needs to touch this box. Your butt needs to touch this box. And you refuse.
You've even employed this technique. And
Yeah,
it doesn't
1,000%.
So then I'm gonna throw this one out the window for good then.
Oh, it's
I don't
done.
see any point. You've had someone for 6 weeks know that there was an object there to touch and refuse to touch it.
Yes.
It's amazing.
And spectacular.
See, that person I would probably fire after like week 2.
I'm not going to have to. They'll probably fire themselves. But
I always like when people are saying like, you fire people. Like, well, yeah, it's a mutual thing. Like,
yes.
I'm not.
I think people get confused about that sometimes as well. It's like
Yes, I'm providing a service was because I choose to provide the service.
Well, people are always like, well, like, what's your next step? What's your next step? How big do you want to get? Do you want to get like 3 locations or 4 locations? I'm like, whoa, no. I want to train I want quality. It's always quality over quantity. And they're like, yeah, well, you've got this many people, but you could make this amount of money. And I'm like, then I'd be a sellout, just like everyone else. It's like,
I've had some quantity and I've had quality. I prefer the quality.
Absolutely. 100 times over. You know, and
It's like you're just willing to put more into those people because they put more into themselves.
exactly. Like I have.
It also doesn't hurt they're willing to pay more. So, but I mean,
We'll ignore that
you
for
think
now.
about the best accountability tool in the world. Like I've never had anybody adhere better than the ones that pay me the most.
I will agree with that, and I think that partly because they're trying to get the most out of what they pay for. So
yeah, so it's a win-win for everybody.
Exactly.
I'm more excited to help them. They're more excited to do it.
Yep.
Everybody gets better results. It's a much better relationship.
Yeah, I agree with that. I tell people that all the time. They think they're always like kids are really hilarious because I have kids that'll come and quit and come and quit and come and quit, and then they're like, "Where's so and so? Where's so and so?" Like, "Oh, they quit." They're like, "Oh, you're not worried about that?" And I'm like, "No." They're like, "Why?" Like their money, you know what I mean? Like they pay your living, and I'm like, I don't see it that way. They're more of a problem when they're here than the money that they're paying me to train them. Like.
Right, yeah, that does happen.
It's unfortunate because they didn't see the importance behind what I was doing, but I'm not gonna cave for anyone either. They're like, why don't you just let them do this, or why don't you just let them do that? And I'm like, because that's not my business model. I'm bringing quality training, and if you don't like the quality, then you just go look at yourself in the mirror at EBI or whatever Globo Gym YMCA you want to go to. Like, just go get your pump in and move on. Like, that's not what we do though. So
yeah, culture is a finicky thing. People don't. I don't know. It's hard to create, and then it's cool when you have it, but nobody wants to like do the work to cultivate it.
Correct. And that's why I'm very appreciative of the people that have been with me since the garage. They're just like, they're awesome because they get it. I had a conversation with a kid like that the other day. Like, he's going to college, this first year of college. He's kind of, it's been like college is tough. It's just a big step, you know, like big, and things are different. And he misses training at the gym. He's like, I hate going to the rec gym, recplex. Can't do this, can't do that. He's like, I just miss training in the garage or training at EAP. He's like, I'm so ready to be back this summer. And I'm like, those are the people you want. Those are the people that built your gym, built your culture, know how to box squat correctly when you ask them to. So, I'd no rep to kid. God, I'd know how many, like, what's the most amount of no reps you've ever done it? Like, nope.
Oh, I just have people stop and I regress them to something else.
Gosh.
I don't even let them keep trying it. I go, well, I clearly made a mistake here, so we're going to go ahead and
move on.
Yeah. I eat the loss and just keep on moving.
I've done that so many times. Like, oh, okay. Especially with kids, because kids, oh yeah, I've been in the weight room, done this, done that. Like, oh, okay. I just assume like you have some kind of quality.
You want to give people the benefit of the doubt.
Absolutely.
And it gives you like a gauge of where they think they're at. And then when you have to just break that and go, no.
It's not it.
No, this is not going to happen. This is not acceptable.
You know what's funny to watch people do? Jump.
Oh, boy. Didn't know that was such a skill.
Right? It's hard though for some people.
Some people, it's hard for a lot of people.
It's really hard. It's really, really hard.
That's how I know my niece and nephew aren't like super athletic. I have them jump and I'm like, I need to practice this.
Some kids get real frustrated with jumping because they'll be like, I'm not going up. I'm not getting like my things aren't going higher. And I'm like, well, some people take longer than others or try harder to jump higher. You know, I pissed a girl off the other day because she had jumps in her program and she was only supposed to do like 15 jumps, but there was a box I knew she could jump on and she just mentally was getting beat by it. So I was like, we're not doing anything until you get on this box. Like you could be here for an hour, but you're jumping on this box because it's not a physical thing. I've seen you do it before. It's a mental thing. And it took her probably 23 jumps later, 24, 25. She's getting pissed, just ready to quit. And I'm just like, you're jumping on this box. She's like, I got to do the rest of my workout. I'm like, the rest of the workout is so irrelevant right now compared to what we need to do right here. Finally got it. It was just like, okay. But anyway, there's so many. People are funny.
The boxes are interesting. The depth jumps, those are. I suck at them. So like, I can't even like. Have you seen the video of the tribe people fucking doing them?
Yeah.
And then the white guy tries to do it.
Incredible.
Like,
incredible.
Wow.
That is an incredible adaptation.
Yeah.
Like the environment that they've been placed in has created that specific adaptation. That is unbelievable.
I think it's got to be running all the time, right? Like
You would think. That
Gonna
tendon
make me
elasticity? Yeah, that elasticity, that tendon. Yeah. That's unreal. How much stored energy goes into that thing, and they're just like a damn. I mean, they are flying on that thing.
they're getting like it
I
looks
got-
like
Let me see if I can pull
25, 30 inches in the air. It's like
see if I can pull it up.
Can you pull that video up?
I don't even know what to search.
African tribe bouncing.
Jumps. African tribe jumping high. That's what the first thing comes up. Oh yeah, here it is. Okay. Let me switch over to that.
Raga warriors. Yeah.
Is this it? Yeah.
I think these are different, but I'm sure
These aren't even the good ones, are they?
Well, I'm gonna pull the hamstring. Look like.
He's out. That's pretty good.
Oh, well, some spring. Dude, no, those ones though with that. You gotta see if you found that one. It's much shittier quality than this.
The one where the guy jumps with them.
Yeah. It's like the National Geographic guy is fucking like, oh, here, let me try it out.
Oh, that looks terrible. Oh, I think this is it, right? No. Oh, yeah, here it is. Yes.
Here we go.
Can I not full screen this? Oh, well. I can't fly full
This is
screen.
the short, so I'm not on the computer. It's crazy.
That is unreal. This guy.
So hard.
Sports scientist coach.
That's about me, yeah.
How old do you think this individual is?
And jumping?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's
Play
incredible.
it again? Gotta be like in the 20s, right?
Like, they're not. That's all stored up energy right there. Like, they're doing nothing.
Yeah, they're just recycling it.
Yeah. Stretch shortening cycle at its finest right there, everyone. Like, holy crap. This guy, not so much. Look how he's forcing it so hard. He's like trying
Oh,
so
yeah,
hard.
taking his feedback. Like, that's the one thing I've noticed with the depth jumps is anytime they feel good, it's like it literally just a tap.
Yeah. I'm always like, God, I was on the ground too long. Dang it, I was on the ground too long. Like it just.
And when you talk about a shock to the bones,
Oh my lord.
and ankles, and oof. I
Man.
did it when my feet were pissed for a day.
What does Bird talk about? Bird talks about how long, like you should do them, and then how long it should be. Did he talk to you about that? I don't know. He said something about
No.
like, I think it's like, do them for a week and then don't touch them again for another like 3 weeks. I don't know.
Oh, really?
Something like, I don't remember. I don't want to misquote him. That guy makes some freaks though. Woo.
Yeah.
Shout out Bird Sports Performance. Holy cow.
Yeah. No kidding.
I'm on the wait list. I haven't heard back from him yet. So I'm
Is
just
that
like,
what it is? Oh, I'm on the wait list then too.
I
'cause
don't
sent in
know.
all my information.
I do know that he was like changing facilities here recently. So I think that's where obviously most of his time has been dedicated. So I'm not going to like bother him
I
about it.
hope one day I just get a charge. And that means I'll get a phone call mysteriously.
Dude, Khalil says he'll talk for like 6 hours.
Dude,
At
he's
2 a.m.
awesome. When I was talking to him at the last conjugate seminar, it was great. Just didn't realize he was so busy. I'm like, dang.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, man, we'll get it set up.
No.
And then,
I told him it might be perfect though, because it's like I got baby on the way, and so it's like, okay, baby wakes up in the middle of the night, I'll just get on the phone and call Bird, and be like, all right, man, I'm ready. Like let's knock these sessions out, dude.
I've been ready for 5 months now.
That's cool, man. Like man, he does some impressive stuff. He's got some freaks. He posted a video of that kid dunking the other day, the Haitian kid or something like that, and he was like 70. He jumps on a 72-inch box on approach.
Oh, it wasn't. It was him. Fahey posted a kid that he had. It's like 5'9" and goes up and blocks this kid trying to dunk it. It was like, what?
Dude, I gotta find it. Like what?
Those guys are making some freaks.
Fahey's incredible too. Guys that just him and Jared Pitney.
They're like the two people I follow on Twitter and pay attention to.
Yeah, like the only ones that
They
are
post
worth.
way more on there than they do on here.
Yeah, he was a story. He doesn't have it on there anymore, but yeah. We getting Depp on next week? Is Depp?
Next week? I don't know. I told them we needed to get our shit figured out.
I'd love to get Depp on here.
I mean, we can. I just think we need to make sure we have a product that's worth listening to.
Listen, this product isn't worth anything right now. We're just trying to.
Hey, my audio could maybe be better or something. We'll just gotta iron out the kinks.
It's fine. It's fine. Well, anyone
But
of
yeah,
this.
he said he's down.
Well, anyone also that's willing to come on here and just shoot the breeze with us, or wants to come and share their experience of training athletes or their
We got a
clients.
wait
Or,
list.
the wait list is already 20 deep. Sorry, it's very.
It's too deep. But,
It's
you know, we
add a
still
zero.
can't exaggerate
Add a zero. Just put a zero on there.
every
Nobody will
time.
know. Well, is there anything else you want to talk about? First one, first podcast. Get our feet wet. Get our face in front of the camera. I guess some people will be listening to this on Spotify.
It's been recording me the whole time.
You what?
Oh shit! I forgot this thing's been recording me the whole time.
You're out there now. I'm gonna upload it today. All the people will know.
As long as I get a coffee, so I can make some reels.
Absolutely. I will send you the link. Actually, how
Just
do?
pouring myself out there for social media?
How am I gonna show you the link? I don't even know. Like, because big files are different for me. I don't know.
Can you put it in a drive? A Google Drive?
I don't know if it'll fit. Does it?
How big is it? Can you make a compressed version of it?
Possibly. I'll have to try. I think though, if I give you access to it in my drive, you're able to download it and do whatever you need. So.
Okay.
See, we're figuring out the kinks, everyone. I'm sorry, this is not a polished product yet, but I'm telling you by about.
We can't have Depp on yet because we don't even know how to advertise this shit.
Oh god, no, this is gonna be good. I'm excited for this. I have a bunch of crap in my head that I just need to get out every now and then, and I enjoy talking to people that's smarter than
Are
me.
you committing to once a week then? Is that what you're committing?
I'm down for one. I'm absolutely committing to once a week. I'm here every Wednesday, hopefully. So.
All right, man. If you become the one with the limp in this situation here, might have to cut you off.
No shot. I mean, in about 4 weeks, there might be baby Avery, like, right here. Like, she might be the special guest all the time. And then it's like, I might have to hold her as I'm talking and then mute myself periodically. But no, I'm committing. Or I'll just take her to daycare on those days. I'll be like, Wednesdays are Alex days. But no, it'll be summer, so mom will be around. It'll be great.
All right. Well, until next week then.
All right, man. Well,
something better to talk about than ourselves.
yeah. Well. I mean, I had some people say some stuff. Like they gave me some content that we can always talk about. But
Oh, you holding out over here?
I'm saving it for next week's episode.
Yeah, I was supposed to talk about mindset. Well, we can get into that later.
Did you ever watch Dragon Ball Z?
When I first started getting high, I did. So
Did you
say that
ever
I remember it?
the outro? Did you ever remember the outro? Or they like join like it'd be like,
Oh,
will
yeah.
Goku ever defeat Frieza?
Yes.
Find out next week on another episode of
Right in
Dragon
the middle
Ball
of this
Z.
epic battle. Here we go again. It's
And then the
6
next-
episodes long.
Yeah, the next one would be just monologue and then monologue and then monologue and then like 10 episodes later you'd be like, they hit each other once. All right.
Finally, we got to it.
We need to get we need to get Waffle on here. Old Waffle Iron Jim and talk some he'll talk some Dragon Ball Z with me. Yeah.
In the anime world, I'm very green. I don't.
So we'll bring you to the light. Just go.
What did I watch? I watch it when I travel usually. So like
Yeah.
when I'm on the plane.
Just buy a Crunchyroll subscription. Go start watching Dragon Ball Z relentlessly.
Dude, no, I'm telling you, I watched it. I was so high at the time. Like I don't know if I remember parts of it.
I can't imagine. You're like, oh, he's powering up again, and then you just wait, and then like, oh, okay. And then you're like, next episode, oh, he's still powering up. All right, and then, oh god.
But yeah, I don't know. The dude I hung out with, he was all into it. So I'd just sit there and just fucking stoned, just watching it. I'm like, what is going on?
That was my streamer tag back when I was on Twitch and streaming video games. It was Vegeta Bowl, so like vegetable.
Isn't he the bad guy?
Yeah, he's a boss though. I have Super Saiyan shoes for God's sake. So
What about is Majin Buu the bad guy too?
yeah, Majin Buu. Yeah. But there's also Good Buu, Super Buu, Evil Buu, Kid Buu. Like there's so many different. Dude, it's awesome. I forget. Don't get me started. We'll go for another 2 hours, all right? Like, calm down.
Oh, this is where the podcast is
Oh.
going to the last 3 hours.
Oh my god.
Go down the Dragon Ball.
It might need to be the intros, like from now on. With just 20-minute intro talking about Dragon Ball Z and then move on.
Or you need to make one that sounds like an episode. That's how you need to do your advertisement.
An episode of Dragon Ball Z.
Today on the Irrelevant podcast.
That's actually really all right. We got it. We figured it out. So, all right, man. Well, I gotta get to the gym, but hopefully this went well for everyone. Thank you, everyone, for joining us here on the Irrelevant podcast. We hope to see you.
I forgot.
Oh yeah, they're gonna listen. We hope to see you next week. So yeah, join us next week for another episode of the Irrelevant podcast.
Yeah. All right,
Peace.